Hey guys. And when I say that, I'm actually talking to people because I have subscribers now. Thank you all for subscribing. Oh my god, like I can't believe that people actually want to watch me ramble about books. Speaking of that, made a new channel banner. It says R. Jensen, lover of books and rambling, because I figured I ramble enough, might as well make it my brand, you know? Not a very good brand to have, probably, but you know what? Who cares? Anyway, I'm going to be doing the rapid fire book tag today. Some questions are repeats, so I apologize for that, and I apologize for the length of this video because it's probably going to get pretty long. But anyway, let's just jump into it. The first one is ebook or physical book, and I chose physical book because I love having books on my bookshelf, honestly. That's the only reason I chose physical books, besides the fact that I actually like just reading physical books more than I like reading ebooks. So yeah, physical books all the way. Paperback or hardback is the next one. And I chose paperback because it's cheaper, although I do love hardbacks because I love the fact that you can use like the book jacket flips, like the you know what I mean, like but you can use the book jacket as a bookmark essentially. I don't know why that took me so long to figure out how to phrase. So that's cool. But otherwise, like paperback does the same job. It's cheaper. Paperback all the way, man. The next one is online or in-store shopping. And a week ago, I would have said in-store shopping because I like bookstores. But I went to go get Let's Talk About Love, which is a book with ace representation in it. And obviously, I'm going to love that. So, I went to the bookstore and I was like, okay, where's this book? Wasn't in the bookstore. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll get Aristotle and Dante Discovered the Secrets of the Universe because that's on my to read list. And I couldn't find that either, even though it's a very popular book. So I ended up getting another book, which I will talk about in a later question. But yeah, I kind of hated that. So I'm going with online because, you know, you can find the books you want online, whereas you can't always find the books you want in a bookstore. So even though you have to pay for shipping, online, I guess. The next one is trilogies or series. I like both of them, honestly, so I can't really choose between them. Sorry. Next one is heroes or villains. And I chose heroes because 1, I'm a basic bitch. 2, villains just aren't like fleshed out as much as heroes usually are. So if you give me a fantastically fleshed out, like motivations are clear backstory, just an overall fleshed out villain, I'll love it. But otherwise, heroes, man, they just get more, usually. Unless the book is about a villain. But usually heroes is what I have to answer for that. And then a book you want everyone to read. Now, I already said the Iliad, and you probably guessed that I want everybody to read the Song of Achilles. So I went with a different book. And that book is The Lightning Thief by Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I want everybody to read this book because I want everybody to have easy access to Greek mythology because I love Greek mythology, obviously. And this book just provides like an excellent introduction to mythology. And even though it's middle grade, like I feel like anybody can read it and still enjoy it. So yeah, The Lightning Thief. The next question is recommend an underrated book. So, I only read popular books because, like I said, I'm a basic bitch. But, the most underrated book I could find on my bookshelf was Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. It's not underrated. Like, it has a fandom. People like this book. But it was the most underrated book I could find on my bookshelf. So there you have it. The last book you finished is the next book. And that's the next question, not the next book. And that is Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, which is becoming a movie, which I've already talked about. I've already talked about this book. You guys know I love it and I'm looking forward to the movie. I'm not going to rehash that. The next question is going back to the bookstore question, and that is the last book you bought. And the last book I bought is Dangerous Art of Blending In. And honestly, I love this book so far. I'm basically done with it. I'm not basically done with it, but I'm almost done with it. And I've loved it, and I definitely recommend reading it. And I'm very glad with this purchase because the bookstore had it, and I got to purchase this lovely book, and now I own it, and it can go on my bookshelf and be lovely. The next question is the weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark. And the weirdest thing I've used as a bookmark is probably like a receipt. I don't use that many weird things as bookmarks. So yeah, like a scrap of paper. Those are the weirdest things I've used as bookmarks probably. The next one is used books, yes or no? Okay, so I'm going to say yes, because used books are great. But I don't buy used books, even though I probably should, because, like, they're cheaper, and why wouldn't I buy used books? The reason why I don't buy used books is because, like I said, I usually just buy my books at the bookstore, so, like, I never go online to buy used books. So, I should start doing that. Now that I've solidified my answer in online book shopping, I should go buy some used books, right? Yeah. So the next one is my top 3 favorite genres, and this isn't technically it is kind of a genre because LGBT is a genre on Goodreads. So, like, any book that has some queer representation in it, I'm all about that shit. So that's like my number 1 top genre. And then fantasy is my second favorite, and then historical fiction is my third favorite. You may be asking yourself, why is historical fiction below fantasy? Well, I found that I like historical fiction, but I only like it when it's done right. And I find that fantasy is done right more, so I tend to I tend to find more fantasy books that I like rather than historical fiction books that I like. So that's the only reason. They're basically tied, but, you know, I had to put them in an order. So the next one is borrow or buy. And this is tricky because I already filmed a bookshelf tour, and you'll see that later. But I like to borrow books, so I don't have, like, completed series. But I also like to buy books because I love having them on my shelf, so I can't really decide between the two. If I had to pick, I'd probably pick buy, just because I love having things on my bookshelf, even though my bookshelf is, like, so small that I need a new bookshelf probably. But yeah, so that is that. And the next one is characters or plot. Now, this was a very easy question, and it's characters, because if you hate the characters, what's the point of a plot? If you hate the characters, what does it matter what they're going to do? You're going to hate them anyway. So, characters was a pretty easy decision for me to make. The next one is long or short books, and I chose short because long ones are intimidating. Like, you see a big book and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can read all that. And at least I do. I'm intimidated by big books. I think it's due to the fact that I read Les Mis and, like, it took me forever that I'm now like, oh my god, it's going to take me forever to read that book. So, big books are scary, and I'll read them, but I tend to prefer shorter books because I can read them easier. I can read them faster, and I'm not intimidated by them at all. The next one is long or short chapters, and again, I'm choosing short because I like to read. If I, like, stop reading, I want to stop at the end of a chapter, and sometimes I have a limited amount of time and I can't read an entirely long chapter. So I'll have to stop in the middle of a chapter, and I don't like to do that. So for that reason, I chose short chapters. The next one is name the first 3 books you think of, and the next, I think of The Foxhole Court, think of The Raven King, and I think of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, which I already mentioned. I tried to go with books that I hadn't mentioned, but I couldn't think of another book for some reason. Like, why couldn't I think of Magnus Chase? I don't know. That's actually, we're just gonna pretend I didn't say Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, and we're gonna go with Magnus Chase, Ship of the Dead, because I love that book. It's a great book. I already talked about how much I liked it, and I'm gonna talk about how much I like it some more in my bookshelf tour, so look forward to that. The next one is books that make you laugh or cry, and I said cry because I like to suffer. My favorite book, is A Song of Achilles, and The Song of Achilles is not a good and happy book. It's quite sad at the end, and it made me cry. It made a lot of people cry. If you read it, it would probably make you cry. I don't know, actually. It might not make you cry, who knows. But it's a good book, and I like books that make me cry because I like to suffer. The next one is Our World or Fictional Worlds, and I chose Our World just because with fictional worlds you have to learn the rules of the fictional world, and sometimes that's kind of difficult. You just have to keep up with like a lot of things, and Our World, you know the rules. You don't have to keep up with anything, so that's the only reason why I chose that. Next one is audiobooks, yes or no, and hell yeah, I love audiobooks, even though I don't listen to them a lot. I really, really want to get the 2 Welcome to Night Vale books on audiobook, because I know Cecil Baldwin did the narration for it, and I know that at least in the first one, I think they had Dylan Marin do Carlos too, and I just want to buy those audiobooks so badly, and I don't know why I haven't. I think it's just that I keep forgetting because my memory is terrible, and like I'm like, ooh, I have money, I can buy books now, and I just forget to buy the audiobooks because I'm like trying to buy other books that are on my to-read list. But anyway, the next one is, do you ever judge a book by its cover? And I'm gonna go with yeah, because if like the cover isn't pretty, I'm not gonna like the book as much, probably. That's a lie. The Foxhole Court, like, the covers aren't exactly pretty, but I still love them to death. But like, I don't know. If I see a book in a bookstore and I'm like just perusing through books, I'm gonna pick a book with a prettier cover. You know what I'm saying? So that's my answer to that question. The next one is book to movie or book to TV adaptions. And I went book to TV adaptions because I want that fucking Song of Achilles miniseries. Give me that miniseries or give me death. Am I right? Yeah. I feel like you can do more on TV. You can like explore the series more, especially if it's a series. If it's like one book, well, The Song of Achilles is one book, and I still want a miniseries. So I just feel like you can do more in a TV show, whereas with a movie you're like constrained to like a time limit. So that's why I like book to TV adaptions more. And then a movie or TV show you prefer to its book. So I already mentioned Paper Towns, so I'm going to mention a different book, and that is Catching Fire. Catching Fire was kind of boring in the first half before they got to the actual games, but somehow in the movie it's not boring at all. So yeah, they did that right, and they left in a lot. Like, Catching Fire is one of the closest book to movie adaptations that I've seen, to be honest. So that's that. And finally is series or standalones. And I love series, and I always want to call it series. So you'll probably hear me call it series, even though I know the plural of series is series. But I like both of them, and I honestly can't choose. Like, I keep saying I can't choose and then choosing, and I'm gonna do that again because I just feel like, I should. But I guess if I had to choose, I would choose series, because you get more. Whereas a standalone book, you only get one book, and you only get to explore that world like once. Whereas with series, you get to explore the world multiple times, and you get a lot more of the story. And so, yeah, I guess if I really think about it, I do like series more than I like standalones. So anyway, that is all for today, and look forward to my book. It turned out longer than expected, just like this video did, and I apologize. But look forward to that bookshelf tour. I'll probably post it fairly soon after I post this video. Bye, guys.